parts are almost ready to go. But what I'm going to put on next is Mod Podge. What is Mod Podge? Well, Mod Podge is really a glue, but if I paint Mod Podge over top of these guys, I got a little bit much there to begin with. Mod Podge will protect them from chipping, from losing any of the paint off there. Now I know you're like, what in the world? Look at that, he's painting all over his guy. It doesn't look so good. What's going to happen? And I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit going, what do I just do? But what I do know is that this will dry clear. And when it dries clear, then what I've got on here, what I've done on here, you won't be able to see the Mod Podge. You will be able to, though, to pick them up and move them around, and you will not chip the paint. And that's what I'm going for right here. So try to get off some of the excess right now. I'm trying to spread it out evenly. But we should be able to watch her dry. And then you will no longer have to worry about all of his paint chipping or coming off. Put a little bit of water on there, maybe to thin it out just a little bit more, because I want to make sure that it does dry clear, and I want to make sure I don't have too much in any of those spots. But I'm pretty sure this is going to turn out really well. So sure that I'm going to go ahead and let this dude sit for a moment and dry, just to make sure. Not gonna lie, I got a little bit worried there when I put the Mod Podge on, but it is all dried off, as you can see. Not only is it dried off, it has a better feel to the miniature because it sealed it completely. So I'm going to be putting that Mod Podge on every one of the models. And so I may try to do it a little bit less as I do it, but the Mod Podge is going to go on to all of them, hopefully sealing in the paint so that we don't get cracks, we don't get paint coming off later. But this will keep the paint on our miniatures for the entire time.
Well, I figured we'd speed things up a little bit to keep your eyes glued to the screen. Get it? Glued to the screen. Sorry, I'm kind of stuck on that kind of humor. It just kind of adhesive. No, that's not good at all. But as you can see here, I am putting it on all of the miniatures. It does feel really good on them after you finish. It takes a little bit of time, especially when you're doing the entire army, which I have done the entire army now. But it really does make a huge difference in how the miniatures feel and keeping the paint on them. I can't tell you how many miniatures I've painted that I have not done this to, that have little chips on them that I have to go back and repaint, that I have to go back and touch up. This way I can use them over and over again, and I don't have to worry about my army being messed up in any way. As you can see, it just goes on fairly quickly. A lot faster if you can do it at 400 speed. 400 times, well, it's 4 times the speed because it's 400%. You see him going on there, probably tickles. I could imagine it tickles the orc. Could you imagine what orcs would sound like laughing? That's probably a little bit of a frightening thought in and of itself. What is the sound of an orc's laughter? And do you really want to hear it? Or would orcs really laugh when they were tickled, or would they just grunt? Would they get more upset? I really don't know. That's a question for a later time. But the brush tickling away at the gun and at the body and making sure that the paint will not come off. This has seemed really effective to me as we're working through getting all those little nooks and crannies. I was a little bit afraid, I have to admit, and you might end up being a little bit afraid as well as you look at it, whether or not it's actually going to clear up after you've painted it, but I promise you it will. There we go again. Making sure we get in the face, making sure we get on the back and shoulders. And getting there on the legs. Man, if I could really paint that fast, that would be wonderful. I'd be done with a lot more miniatures a lot more quickly. Then again, maybe I wouldn't be happy about that because I'd lose some of the enjoyment of the actual painting itself. We're getting close because there's the heavy gunner. Once the heavy gunner's done, then I'm going to turn it over to myself to finish off with the leader of the entire army.
For the last guy we're going to paint, we're now going to put Mod Podge, our orcish leader. This means the orcish leader should be able to keep his paint job. He should be good to go as soon as we get all this on him. On his front, on his back, on his arms. Again, my understanding is, and I have not done it, my understanding is you can paint over these guys. You add more paint to them even after you've done the Mod Podge. The Mod Podge is just to protect the paint that's already there. Doesn't mean you can't put some more paint over top of it. However, it should keep it from chipping and coming off prematurely, which I've started to notice on some of my miniatures that I've painted. That does happen. But hopefully not on these guys. Not now. Not now that they've been Mod Podged. And right now, we've Mod Podged the whole group. That was kind of anticlimactic there. I was hoping to put that one in and it'd be like, oh wow, woo! Here is our group of 10. From beginning to end.